to a 2007 report by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, 20% of welfare recipients openly admitted to using drugs at least once in the past year. With approximately $33 billion spent on welfare, according to the U.S. Government Accountability Office in 2011, that means over $6 billion taxpayer dollars were supporting drug users. With such an enormous amount spent on government welfare programs, it's imperative that the money that we contribute to these is used in a wise manner. So why should you care? Well, unless you're planning on never working or never paying taxes, it'll be your money that's used to support these government assistance programs. Today I'm going to talk about the scope of drug use by welfare recipients. Then I'm going to move on to why mandatory drug testing would be a solution to this problem. And then finally, I'm going to finish up with what positive effects this law could have. Now, most of you are generally aware of government assistance programs, but I'm going to start out and give you a little more details about them. I previously mentioned welfare, but that's not the only government assistance program. According to Alabama State Senator Jeff Sessions, at the 2013 Budget Committee hearing, there's over 80 welfare programs that comprise the largest item in the federal budget. It's larger than Medicare, Social Security, and National Defense. In 2011 alone, these 80 programs cost over $746 billion, according to the budget memo from the Congressional Research Service last year. So, doing the math, if 20% of those people used illegal drugs, that means $150 billion were spent supporting drug users. Now, welfare programs were originally created to help families and children, mostly. If the parents are spending money on drugs, obviously the kids aren't receiving the benefits that they're supposed to be. And when the economy isn't doing well like it is now, money is tight for everyone. So the people that really need the money should get it over these drug users. Colorado State Representative Jerry Sonnenberg said it correctly when he said, "If you have enough money to buy drugs, you shouldn't need help with public assistance." So now that I have told you about the issue of drug users receiving welfare, I'm going to give a solution to the problem. The solution that I propose would be mandatory drug testing for all welfare recipients. 23 states are currently in the process of passing laws like these, and a few of them have been successful. Most jobs already require drug testing before you begin employment, so wouldn't it make sense that welfare recipients should also be drug tested to get their checks? It makes sense that they should be held to the same standard as the working class. Texas State Senator Jane Nelson, who is currently chairwoman of the Committee on Health and Human Services, filed SB 11 to create new rules for welfare recipients in Texas. Under SB 11, welfare applicants would first have to fill out a questionnaire about drugs, basically, and through that questionnaire, if someone could perceive that this person is likely to use drugs, then those recipients would have to actually take a drug test. So if after you answer all the questions you don't seem like a drug user, then you won't be drug tested. But if you've ever been convicted of a drug felony, you automatically have to undergo drug testing before you receive welfare. So if you take a test and fail it, you automatically have to wait another year before you even apply for welfare again. But if you choose to undergo treatment or rehab, you can apply again after 6 months. Well, what about the children of these parents, you ask? Wouldn't they be worse off by getting no money at all instead of a little bit of money? Well, in order to combat this, the law creates something called a protective payee, which would be like a grandmother of the children, who would receive the child's portion of the welfare benefits, and they would administer the money and make sure that the children got it and it was used for food, clothing, shelter, anything that was a necessity. Also under the SB 11, there's a 3 strikes you're out rule. So if you fail a drug test 3 times, you're banned from applying for welfare ever again. But of course, your children can still get welfare through the protective payee rule. So, passing a law like this, what would be the positive consequences of it? Well, there would be a decrease on the amount of money that would be wasted on drug users. And so that means people that really needed these benefits and were going to use them to make their lives better, they would be able to be helped more. Families are also more likely to spend the money on their children instead of just to support their drug habit. And maybe making people unable to receive welfare while they're on drugs would convince them to maybe try to quit using drugs. So in conclusion, because welfare makes up such a huge portion of the government spending currently, the money should not be wasted on contributing to people's drug habits. In my speech, I talked about how big welfare really was and what the effects of drug use were on welfare people, and what positive results would come from implementing mandatory drug testing. I hope you agree with what I've had to say tonight, and if you do agree, I have a petition that you can sign online that would show your support and help pass a law like this in Texas. Okay, that was it.